Hey, thanks for joining Must Play. Today we have a good one with Kevin Sarreal, better known as @Surreal Golf on Instagram and TikTok, joining TJ and I to evaluate the Rancho Bernardo Inn Golf Course in San Diego. We cover course highlights, the history of the resort, and ultimately answer if this course is a must play. We hope you enjoy. Kev, welcome back to the pod. I'm excited to have you here today to discuss Rancho Bernardo Inn, but more importantly, being able to actually hear you, because last time we had you on at Rams Hill, we had a little to drink and TJ hogged the mic the entire time.
Right, I got my own mic, so we're good to go.
Whoa. Hold on. Number one, yes, I did hog the mic. Number two, I had a lot to drink that day.
Yeah.
I was severely dehydrated. I was not coherent for most of that podcast. It was a good day. We had a lot of, as Rev likes to say, white lightning.
It was,
and
it was a blur.
It was a blur.
Yeah. But that wasn't actually your first time there, right? You had been there a couple times or once before?
Once before. But that time when we all went was way more fun.
10 out of 10, go book a back-to-back golf day trip with your boys out in the middle of nowhere where you kind of have to where it's really only about the golf and hanging out with the boys and no one's like trying to like go out to a bar or cruise for chicks or anything like that. It's strictly golf and drinking.
There's no chicks in Borrego Springs. I'm sorry.
Well, that's a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole nother. Yeah. Okay, so Kev, I got to see your game firsthand at Balboa for the first time when you were in a scramble in another group, but then I got to see it as well at Rams. And I know you're a good golfer, but you've been getting better, I've been seeing online. So I was just a little curious. Want to walk us through where the game's at right now? Maybe the handicap?
So I think it was a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, finally hit single digits. That was a big goal of mine since I first started playing. I shot a personal best during one of the happy hour tournaments. Shout out to Happy Hour Golf. Hit a 73 at Arrowwood, which is a North County course over here in San Diego. But I was, everything that I knew I could do in my head was happening on the course. And everything just clicked that day.
Very quick question for the uninformed as the guy who's never had everything go right in a golf day or even most things go right in a golf day. When you shoot like a 73 and you shoot a personal best, does it feel like everything is going right? Or was it like 2 out of the 3 went right that day and the other one was manageable? Or was it just like, yeah, go on.
I feel like the biggest thing I noticed was every putt was dropping. So even if I like didn't chip it right next to the pin, I was making crazy like 20 footers, 30 footers. And that's when I knew I was like, all right, this is going to be a day.
Yeah. It honestly, sometimes the putting alone, you could have the other stuff like TJ to your question be manageable, but if the putting's dropping, you're guaranteed to like have a pretty decent day out there. And you're just trying to figure out how quickly you can get to the green. Because that's But I know you've been working hard on it because I've seen you, Kevin. You've been playing in these tournaments too, right? You just played in Pasadena, I think it was.
I played in Pasadena, LA City tournament. I want to play in the San Diego tournaments. That's another goal of mine, but they have a max handicap of 4, so I have to hit that first before I can get out there.
Okay, so I had a question because you've been playing in the tournaments. Are you noticing anything different in your game when you go play at a tournament versus like a regular weekend round? Are you tightening anything up, or are you like trying to hit a certain shot shape, or do you play a little safer?
I'm definitely practicing my short game more leading up to tournaments. I'm making sure the chipping and putting is dialed in because I'm not a long hitter, so I know like a lot of the times if my approaches are short, I'm going to have to stick it close to the pin if I want to score or at least save a par. And then just being out there, I'd say just making sure I'm familiar with all the rules so I don't get like penalties or stupid strokes here and there. That's always helpful before a tournament. You don't want to be that guy who's like gets caught like doing something and people accuse you of cheating or anything like that.
Yeah.
Somebody, Noah, who was just on for Level Select, Noah from Golf Culture and Golfers Anonymous, just played in like his first actual Ball and Cup tournament, and he spoke about the exact same thing where he had like super through the roof anxiety about the actual rules of golf and
Right.
being like, oh, there's so many things that you like take for granted when you go play with your buddies. And this isn't the PGA Tour where you can like ring up a rules official and stand out on the
Right.
cart path and being like, is this obstruction of my stance or not? Like, no, you just kind of have to like, you have to make the right judgment and make it and hope that you're doing what's true by the book.
Yeah. I knew someone that played in a tournament and didn't know any of those rules, but also admitted that they didn't want to learn any of those rules. And so they hired a caddy. And then they said for the caddy, they're like, as long as you know the rules and prevent me from doing something dumb that's going to cost me a stroke, like you're hired. And they just relied on the caddy for everything. Like, is this unplayable? No? Okay, worth a try.
That's pretty smart, actually.
Yeah.
We can cut this. Was that Mike?
No. Catch it straight.
I gotta at least ask, but I mean, that's. I'm not saying that Mike's lazy. I'm just saying that sometimes it is easier to just say, "Hey, I can solve this problem with money."
That's true. That's true. It's the founder mindset. My last question for you, Kevin, was: are you getting sick of the whole Jason Day bit?
I mean, I feel like it's gonna, as long as I stay in the golf space, I'm gonna hear it. So I'm used to it by now.
So you're just leaning into it.
Yeah, I'm leaning into it, and I think if it leads to an opportunity to get to play with him or the lads someday, that would be sick.
I could have told you the answer to his question was going to be that he's not sick of it. He has the vest hanging up literally over his shoulder right now. For anyone who's listening. I would think that you are willing to ride that thing as long as you can until you actually get to like double Jason Day in an Instagram skit, or like I said, you get to play with him, or somebody does the joke, we swapped in Kevin Sarreal for Jason Day and nobody knew the difference.
Right. One of these days I'm gonna try and sneak into a legit tournament as Jason Day and see if it works.
Are you going to try and like pull into like the player parking or something?
Yeah, exactly. So I might need you guys to pose as security or something, but we're going to make it happen eventually.
There you go.
I have a black suit and a tux that I can be personal security.
Yeah.
There you go.
For those who aren't watching or just listening, go look up at Surreal Golf on Instagram and you'll be blown away. There is some similarities, I have to admit. All right. I've pestered you enough there on that. Thanks for being a good sport. We were talking about Rancho Bernardo and our RBI from here on out. That's what I'm going to be calling it. And I was just curious, like from a highlights perspective, like for you, what are some of the things you like about the course or maybe don't like? Like what should people know about RBI?
So RBI is one of the first courses I played when I moved down here to San Diego. One of the main reasons I like playing there is accessibility. It is pretty close to, it's really close to where I live, but for anyone in San Diego, it's right off one of the main freeways and they always have tee times. So if you want to play on a Saturday morning, Sunday morning, chances are you can play RBI. Mm-hmm. What I don't like about it though is the price tag. So I don't know if we're going to jump into that, but that's a little bit of pros and cons for me.
Is the tee time only for JC people though, or is that for anyone? You think it's easy to get on?
I think anyone. Yeah, I mean, like most of the time, I see RBI available anywhere from like 6 to 11 every weekend.
Shawn, I think the question that you're asking, because some of the other JC courses that we've covered on the podcast previously have JC booking windows, but then also have resident booking windows that precede the JC window, like Encinitas Ranch, for example. RBI does not have any of that. There is no preferential treatment to San Diego County residents or people who reside within a 5-mile radius, a 10-mile radius. If there was any benefits outside of potentially being a member of the resort, I don't know about it. And I'm like Surreal. This is the closest 18-hole standard golf course to me. I would, if you were to say what course have you probably played the most in San Diego, it's either RBI or Torrey for me. So this, I would consider this my home course. I think I follow a lot of the same stuff that Surreal said here, where it's pretty easy to get on. It's not your atypical resort course that you would expect for a course that is attached to a hotel/resort for good reasons and for bad reasons. But I would say yes, for the golf course that you get out there, the price tag isn't necessarily desirable. You're still getting somewhat of a resort course price tag.
How much are we talking? Like, what's a typical round?
I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Right now, it's still a little warm in San Diego. I say warm in San Diego. That means it's in the mid 80s. But it's still a little hot to play golf in the midday for those of us who are pampered here. And I think it's still like 120 in like the post 9 a.m. slot on like a Saturday. So
I've seen it as high as 190.
Like right now?
Yeah, non JC prices. Yeah, they're up there.
Maybe
Wow.
I was just looking at JC prices.
Yeah, JC. If you have the JC card, the price is a little bit more reasonable. But that's one of the reasons I like using my JC coupons on that course, is because I'm like, this is a $200 course. I'm gonna take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's a price that, out here in Phoenix, like in, let's say, peak season, like in the winter, a 190 is like a course that's not your top of the line course, but it's like right in the mix of other courses around that price point. Like you would expect really good desert golf coming out here in the winter around that price. So I guess for San Diego, 190 for RBI does feel a lot, to be honest, like having played it, but I haven't played as much as you guys have.
Well, and the other tough part of that is it falls to what our baseline is all the time, and that's what can I go pay to play Torrey Pines for right now, and that's definitely, as a San Diego as a resident, right? That's definitely more expensive than I think what a round at Torrey costs a resident
For a city card. Yeah,
for a city card holder.
100%.
Yeah. So that's it falls. A lot of courses just have to fall weirdly into that bucket where you go, well, I can play Torrey Pines for this, or I can play this course for that.
Right. I had questions for you guys because you guys play here more than I do. I was curious, does this course feel tight to you guys? Does it feel like homes or washes or like ravines? Like, does it feel like a tight landing area for most of the holes?
Yeah. I would say, like, I actually had this written down as kind of like my summary. When I said not your atypical resort course, I think a lot of times people assume that resort courses are fairly open and a little bit more friendly. This course is pretty tight. There's a few holes that run right off into like washes or dry beds. I think there's a tough stretch on the back where there's a wash that runs down the right-hand side of every hole because it's on the loop. So you just keep coming past it for like 4 or 5 holes. And for most golfers who are right-handed slicers of the ball, that thing comes right into play. I usually play those 4 holes that I can think of with an iron off the tee because I don't even want to risk hitting at a slicey driver shot and just automatically losing a ball. But yeah, there's also a ton of houses around this course. Like, almost every hole is right next to a set of houses. They don't necessarily come into play on every single hole, but it is definitely a tighter course than what you would expect for your resort course.
Yeah. Me visiting the area, I feel like I get to play golf in San Diego where I'm either getting a view of the ocean or I'm up high or somewhere like that, or I'm playing a course like RBI where it feels like it's my local type courses that are tucked in between tracked homes or things like that. But the difference I feel like at RBI was like how lush everything was. It just felt like the grass is thicker almost. I don't know how to describe that, but it is. And like there's more jungle out there than there is other courses. It just feels more like humid and more lush landscaping and stuff like that, which I'll talk a bit about my history with the area. But for San Diego, this one did not feel like your bluff or drier type course climate, which was kind of neat, I guess. But I'm assuming in the hot days that might be a little a con because of how humid it gets.
As a person who played 3-ish weeks ago on a closer to 90-degree temperature day in the middle of the day, it was tough. It was a real tough round. I think it was one of those days where I got out there with full transparency here. I got married last month at the Rancho Bernardo Inn. That is not going to necessarily impact our rating or review of the course today. That transaction has been completed. So we are not today's.
There's a reason we scheduled this after the wedding.
Today's must play episode is not sponsored by JC Golf or the Rancho Bernardo Inn. So it gets a little humid out there. I'll definitely say, like I talked about, that creek that kind of runs through it all as well. And then I don't know if it was when you had played last time, but they've more recently had a fungus out there on some of the grass. So they've got quite a few ground under repair areas on a few of the par 4s and par 5s that are just that I feel like have been out there for a while. Would you agree, Kev?
I was just thinking that as you said that. I first played there 3 years ago, and it seems like they always have an area under repair. But I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because I guess they're trying to fix up the course. But in the 3 years that I've lived here, it's still not done. So there's that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to save the rest for the actual test when we get into it. Are you cool if I transition to the history of the course?
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right. Before we do that, we're going to hear more from our sponsor for today's episode, Clinch Golf.
This episode of Must Play is brought to you by Clinch Golf, a brand that we love and stand behind. Clinch Golf is reimagining the golf glove with cutting-edge performance materials that outlast and outperform leather gloves. Traditional gloves wear out fast, they lose their grip, and they can't handle the elements. Clinch's tactile gloves deliver all-season traction, they maintain their grip even when wet, and they're going to last twice as long. Plus, they're breathable, washable, and they're touchscreen friendly, so you can still check in on those parlays while you're out on the course. It's time to upgrade your golf game with the next generation of golf gloves. See the difference for yourself at clinchgolf.com and use promo code FAIRWAGERS for 10% off.
All right, let's dive into the history of RBI here. We're going to talk a little bit about the actual resort and the course because they are interconnected. So, a member of Historic Hotels of America since 2021, RBI has actually provided a world-class or a luxurious service for more than half a century, but its roots actually reach much further back. I'm not going to go too deep in like I did with Wildwood, where I'm telling you about the Native American tribes that were there and like the old days. I just think there's one little piece I need to kind of tell you about. It's that the land it sits upon was really, really popular with missions back in the day. So the Spanish missions proliferated the whole SoCal area, and there were a couple in this area throughout California centuries ago. And during the Mexican-American War, and there was independence piece to this, where essentially the local authorities confiscated this land away from the Mexican government and tried to use it as farmland during all of these things that were happening. And so the newly created Mexican government tried to basically take this back, and there was a little bit of back and forth, but eventually it did get sold off. And this area was always called Rancho San Bernardo, and they granted the land over to an Englishman, and it basically continued to trade hands until eventually it ended up to an entrepreneur named James McCoy. McCoy wanted to parcel out portions of the sprawling estate into small plots, and he used this to create an agricultural village that would serve the area's many farmers in the late 1800s. And this large, undivided piece of Rancho San Bernardo, the 5,800 acres where the resort is today, part of that 5,800 acres, it actually remained privately owned well into the 20th century. So it was kind of unique to that area. But it eventually passed into the ownership of the San Diego Water Company during the 1920s. And that corporation deeded the area to a guy named George Daly, who was a landowner who had already managed 2 other ranches in Escondido and Homol. So Daly and his family called the place home for the next few years until his passing in 1957. His 2 nephews, who now got this place, assumed control of the ranch but made a deal with developers to transform the whole region into a planned community called Rancho Bernardo. Blueprints for this settlement featured fabulous residences as well as several luxury businesses, the most notable of which was the boutique hotel at the center of town. So after 2 years of construction, the hotel opened its doors for the first time in 1963. Named Rancho Bernardo Inn, it debuted with just 30 rooms at a base rate of, do either of you guys want to guess how much a nightly rate was in 1963 to stay at the RBI?
$20.
I was going to say 15.
$8.
Dang.
TJ, how much do you think you would pay now for RBI?
You mean how much did I pay?
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Ashley paid.
You don't have to share. Don't worry. A lot more. So the amenities inside the hotel were also luxurious. They featured perks like color televisions at the time and exquisite all-you-can-eat fish fry, as well as a ton of fountains throughout the whole resort, which actually I'm not going to go into, but there's a whole design element to how many fountains are there. And one of them is actually kind of like a cultural heritage, I don't want to call it monument, but like a landmark, let's say.
Huh.
And it even offered a championship caliber 18-hole golf course designed by the renowned landscape architect William F. Bell Jr., who we talk about all the time on this podcast.
Yep.
He was one of America's most prolific golf course designers, and his dad was William P. Bell, who designed several famous golf courses such as Riviera, Pasadena Country Club, the Arizona Biltmore, San Diego Country Club, Papago, and Torrey Pines North and South. Over time, he took his son, William F. Jr., to be his apprentice for years, and then essentially after his passing, Bell Jr. assumed control over the family design firm, which he ran for the next 3 decades. Bell Jr. eventually designed over 200 courses throughout the country. So he did RBI, and RBI achieved fame throughout the country overnight for its grand elegance and its hospitality. And illustrious guests started visiting the inn, like Bob Hope, Bing Crosby, and many other celebrities. The facility also began hosting PGA events, starting with the San Diego Open in 1964, and the LPGA would come here too, hosting the Honda Civic Classic at the inn from 1978 to 1980. In order to meet the surging popularity, the Dailies and their business partners expanded the inn to feature 151 guest rooms, and they added a new restaurant. Fast forward to 1975, James Kalashis of JC Resorts acquired the RBI, and his stewardship managed to further elevate the destination, earning it its first AAA 4-diamond title just 2 years later. RBI has maintained its status as a 4-diamond retreat every year since. Today, RBI continues to be consistently ranked as one of the best vacation hotspots in SoCal, and the course sees thousands of rounds played annually. But is it truly a must play in San Diego? We'll be the judge of that. Shorter history section this time, but did you know any of that going into your wedding, TJ?
That was all brand new information for me. I'm going to be honest. Nice. I knew it was only a matter of time before old Billy Bell popped up again in our history sections. But yeah, I didn't even realize that there was even that many rooms. The resort is weirdly tucked in a way where like every room that you stay in feels like somewhat private, or feels somewhat small. Mm-hmm. For years of even playing, until we like toured it as a wedding venue, I had never really like gone and walked around the resort, and I just didn't realize actually how like vast it actually was, until we actually stayed there, and the amount of times I had to traverse it during our wedding weekend to move things around the entire resort, or call people to help me move things around the entire resort.
Yeah. The one thing I was interesting about this course was that every time I go visit the history section, I start to write it up for these other courses. There's usually like redesigns, renovations, so many hands on these courses, but this one has been pretty much true to the original design since it came out. It's had like touch-ups here and there, but it really hasn't deviated that much, which is unique for a lot of courses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you would think
the last LPGA event held there, or professional event.
So professional event is different than LPGA because there are other events that they've held there. But the LPGA was 1980, I believe. Let me look.
So it's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I don't want to make this up.
I would love to see it in those types of conditions.
In championship condition?
Yeah. 1986 was the last one there. Yeah.
Okay. It's been a while.
I just wanted to kind of call out, if you could explain for the viewers, TJ, like I always get confused with Oaks North and RBI and the Rancho Bernardo Country Club. They're all kind of like in this pocket. Can you explain how those things are related?
So it's very tight, right? So hold on, because there's also, is it the Rancho? I believe it's the Rancho Bernardo Country Club is right next door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the Rancho Bernardo Inn is right there. The Rancho Bernardo Inn uses the driving range of the Rancho Bernardo Country Club as well. So that is also, and then the parking lots are connected as well. So there's a lot of people who pull in thinking like, oh, I pulled in and I saw the driving range and then I saw what looked like a pro shop and I assume that that's where I go for the RB Inn. And it is, I would say it is not necessarily signed properly at the RB Inn to tell you where to go to find the pro shop. You see people all the time walking through the hotel lobby who then have to navigate like staircases downwards and walk like through the bar to find the pro shop. Like it is very much if you have not been there before, you are not going to know where to go. And then on top of that, across the street from both of these locations is Oaks North, which is another JC Golf property that is a 27-hole executive course. So I think a lot of times, and I've actually gotten into light arguments with some of Ashley's friends about, oh, well, my parents live on Rancho Bernardo Inn. And I'm like, I've been to your parents' house. No, they do not. And they think that they do. And I'm like, there's common confusion around people who have lived in these houses for years on what golf course they actually live on.
Cool. Well, I mean, I was confused myself because we're going to get into it in the test, but I was, looking at like practice facilities when we get to that question. And I was like, are we counting these or not? So might as well just dive into the test here and see how it does, right? All right, let's get into the must play test. So TJ and I devised an objective test here of 10 questions to determine if a golf course is a must play. The course must score a 6 out of 10 to be up for debate or get a 7 out of 10 or higher to automatically earn our coveted must play status. Kev has been part of this once before, and I'm excited for you to kick us off here. So I'm going to send this first question to you, Kevin. The Augusta test. Is this course easy to get a tee time on? Does it have a straightforward booking process? And are there times available the week of your intended play?
Yes, this is probably one of the easier courses to get a tee time at in San Diego. So, I'd say it passes the Augusta test.
Passes. Okay. TJ?
Yeah, I'd agree. We talk about it all the time where a lot of golf courses shoot themselves in the foot out here because their tee times, their tee sheets are full. But this golf course kind of gets by on being attached to the resort anyway. And I think it is very well known at a course that you can hop on very late in the weekend on a Friday and find a tee time for the Saturday or the Sunday. Yep. Not a problem, especially as a single. Maybe not. It's a little bit more tough as a foursome, but that's Southern California in general. But
True,
here, pretty easy to get on as a 1 or a 2 and slide in pretty late. But that definitely will impact some other questions and answers to those as we get further on in the test.
Okay. Is this course on Golf Now? Can you find it on Golf Now?
Probably.
It probably is. I don't use Golf Now for anything because I hate Golf Now.
It's so big out here in Arizona. It's funny to me. Like when I search it in San Diego, there's only a handful of courses sometimes I come across.
I also think San Diego is super ripe for independently owned courses and not like, don't get me wrong. I know we talk about JC Golf a lot and we've reviewed more than a handful of JC Golf courses, but I also think a lot of the other courses are independently owned. So these tee time booking services go out and can be picked up by like a random one-off booking service and be under contract for someone like that versus Golf Now.
Yeah.
Alternatively, like we've talked about all the time, tee sheets are always full in Southern California. They don't need to offer hot deals or be on the aggregate booking site to have their tee times be filled.
True. Yeah. I mean, they're subject to even bots, like the whole scam that went on in LA. Like, I mean, San Diego's ripe for that kind of thing. I hope it doesn't happen. Okay. But we're saying pass for question 1 here. So
100%.
Okay, 1 for 1. Question 2, the bang for your buck test. Is this golf course worth the rate you pay? Do you feel like this course is a good value during peak season? Either one of you want to go first?
I can ask for a quick qualifying question on our bang for buck question. When we phrase this out, we are assuming that someone who is looking at this is booking a tee time potentially from out of town,
or for their buddies who are coming into town.
So then, under that pretense, I'm going to say it fails because you're going to run into that $190 price tag like Surreal talked about. If you are a resident, though, and you can afford to buy the Anytime JC card, and you can use all 5 of those, they're free rounds, but you've essentially paid for those rounds up front, right? With what you pay to get the card. This is the best deal that you will get. You will probably pay, I think the Anytime JC card's like $500 for the year. And if you use all of these, you're going to like almost double net that, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be significantly higher portion for value if you can do that. But under the pretense that it's not that, it's a fail.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say for anyone not a JC member, if you're visiting San Diego and you get roped into playing at Rancho Bernardo, I wouldn't be happy with the value. I just looked it up to confirm, and it is $185 weekends and holidays public rate. So $190 is a little higher, but that's still hefty for the course.
Okay. I'm a fail as well. So we are 1 for 2 here. Question 3, the Iverson test. Does this course have good practice facilities? Would you spend time warming up or just head for the bar before the round?
We talking about practice? Not a game. Practice.
Can I start this one?
Fire away, Shawn.
I will be your resident out-of-towner trying to book a time here at RBI, okay? And legitimately this happened to me. I don't know where to go to practice other than putting. I see a putting green in front of the bar, right?
You walk right past it, yep.
Yeah. Where do I chip? Where do I go hit balls? I would probably go ask, and then I'd be very confused about what to do. Now, question, would they send me to a driving range, TJ, if I asked if I could go hit balls?
Yeah, they're going to tell you to pay. Like it's not a free driving range.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. So but you have to drive a cart, right? Like
you have to drive a cart. Yeah, you kind of go out in front through the parking lot, and then you go through that connected parking lot and then drive over to the country club where they have the ball machine and the mats.
Okay, now in the past, we've dinged a course for this. If it's further away from the first tee and you're worried about how much time you have, because we did this at Biltmore, for example, if your tee time is in, let's say, 20 minutes, are you going over to the range?
No.
Are you going over to the range if your tee time's in 30 minutes?
Maybe.
It's going to be cutting it real close. The real, I think, ding here on the qualifier here. Yes, you're a new person. So if you showed up 30 minutes beforehand, here's the real thing is that also you can't chip on their putting green.
Right.
The putting green is wildly built on a slope. Like on an insane slope.
So narrow.
It's so narrow. It's like, it feels like it's maybe 10 feet wide. So you're only practicing lengthwise so that you can only practice breakers. You can't actually practice, like, there's no uphill or downhill putts really that are over 4 feet.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that the range itself is not a great range. You can't hit driver on it. The actual, like, the range itself where you hit the balls into is built on a hill. So, like, if you're trying to, I guess, get a judgment of how you're hitting the ball that day, or maybe you live in Colorado and you're playing your first round in San Diego and you're like, how does the ball fly at this elevation? You won't fucking know.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my point, is like, 30 minutes is even cutting it close, right? I don't know what the average data is and how early people show up these days. I'm very curious to know, because I know you're the outlier, TJ. But if I was going to Balboa and I show up 30 minutes before, I might go swing a few because I know it's right there, and I'm just going to take the cart down to the first tee versus this. And then pair that with the fact that the bar here is sick. I actually really like the bar at RBI. So the second part of this question, or just head for the bar before the round, I'm going to the bar 10 times out of 10, I think is my answer.
Okay.
So I'm a fail for this one because of those reasons. How about you guys?
Surreal?
Yeah, I'm a fail. I think anytime the range is not walkable, I'm gonna fail that. But in like, so they share the driving range with Rancho Bernardo CC. Rancho Bernardo CC has a nice like putting area, chipping area. I don't know if that means that the RBI guests can use those, because that might make me give it like half a pass if you were allowed to. But just the distance alone is enough for me to say fail in terms of practice facilities.
I've never thought about walking over there and using their chipping green and their putting green under the pretense of like, that's a country club. Like that is,
Right.
that's going to be that, like, if anyone is not going to let some random bystander who is not a member use their practice facilities, it's going to be a country club. Right. So
Yeah.
I've never even thought that thought has never even crossed my mind, even though I can see them. It's when I think about going to RBI, I always think about how early I have to show up because of the parking lot's jammed full because it's a resort. So you have to walk far from your car, or you have to park your car, go walk up, check in, drive back out, get your bag from the car, drive back over, or drive to the range. There's far too much involved with having to actually go and hit balls here. So much so that when I played 3 weeks ago, I hadn't played in like a month. I hadn't even swung a club. I was barred from being outside before my wedding out of fear of a bad sunburn. And I didn't even think twice about going and hitting balls that morning because I was like, I've been so busy all weekend. The last thing that I want to do is frantically rush to go and hit balls. I'm just going to show up. I'm going to get a cocktail and I'm going to roll some putts and probably not be happy with the quality of any of the putts that I rolled. I felt like that day, the greens were the greens that were on the course and the greens that were on the practice were wildly different, as it always feels like. But
Yeah.
it's even if Surreal gives it a half point, I'm still failing it. It's a fail.
Well, you failed it. So
Well, I mean, it feels like we're all pretty much on the same page about failing it, but I guess just to add insult to injury, I don't understand why you have to pay for balls if you're charging resort course prices.
Mm-hmm.
Like that should be included.
yeah,
I think it's because it's not theirs. I think they probably have to pay the country club access to the driving range. So
Okay.
so that's how they compensate for that. But yeah, it's, I mean, don't get me wrong. JC club members get a little thing in there for they get 10 free small buckets a year or whatever. So that's usually what I'm using to hit those balls. But yeah, it's still like I'm paying resort court prices. Usually most resort courses that I go and play just have endless buckets of balls for me to hit.
Right.
This is not the case.
Yeah. All right, so it's a fail. So 1 for 3 here. Question 4, the Jonesy test. Could you see yourself spending $100 on merch in their pro shop? Do they have a logo or apparel worth wearing? This is a blind spot for me. I don't think I looked at any of it, so I'm going to defer to you two guys. And also, you two have style, so please go ahead. Kev more than TJ.
They have a nice pro shop. Don't get me wrong; it's huge. They've got every brand you could ask for. Am I buying any Rancho Bernardo merch? Probably not. I don't care to advertise that I played at Rancho Bernardo. But the pro shop is nice, so maybe half a point.
Because of the pro shop's nice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they fall into a strange category here where the logo's not great.
What is the logo?
Let's see here. It's probably
Hey, you have a ball mark on your
always maybe this is for the exact scenarios where we do this here for the visuals at home. There's your logo there, an R, a B, and an I. Maybe
kind of
there's
like an ampersand looking logo.
Yeah, it's nothing really to write home about, right? Like we've talked about a lot more great golf course. We've talked about a lot more great golf course logos than that, and we've also talked about a lot more that are even just somewhat better. I think it falls into the lower pantheon of golf course logos that we've rated.
Yeah.
But Surreal is right. They do have a nice pro shop. They don't carry anything that's like wildly like, oh my gosh, I've never seen this in a pro shop before. There's a lot of brands in there. There's your Nikes, your Travis Matthews, your Titleists, your Bad Birdies. All those are in there. So there is a world in which you do see something in there that you have probably not seen before, just on a sheer volume of apparel space, but nothing that you're going to want to buy with a logo on it. And I think everything has got the logo embroidered into it. So for that reason, unless I'm in a pinch and I have to buy a putter or a pair of shoes at a golf course, I'm not spending $100 here. It's a fail for me.
Oh, I'll ride with you guys. All right, 1 for 4. Tough start here.
Tough start.
I think he'll pick up a little bit here. So question 5, the buzzworthy test. Are there multiple holes worth talking about? Does this course have more than one hole a group would want to immediately go play again? Go ahead, TJ.
Shawn. No. Shawn, I want to hear you because you sat out the last one. So I want to hear your opinion on this one.
I'm a pass on this one. So what?
Never. Oh, no, hold on. Sorry. You're giving this one a pass. I thought you were passing on answering the question altogether again. And I was like, is this guy going to do anything this podcast?
No, green light. Yeah, hosting. Hello. It's a hard job.
Hello.
The combo moving. I think this is a yes, a pass, a green, however you want to check mark. I can think of a few holes. So first off, the one that I went back the most is 10. 10 was a really cool, I think it bends left a little bit and it goes downhill. And there's that like perfect shot shape for my fade. I'm a lefty. And I was like, oh God, I want that hole like 3 times. I just want to see how hard I go on driver. If I can like go around these trees or pull that move. And then the first hole is a lot of fun too. I actually like that shot over the little concrete wash and like figuring out, are you going to take that on or not on your first shot? Cause there's a bit of a layup you could play, or you could try and go after it.
Yeah.
So those 2 holes come to mind. And then you might have to help me with this one, TJ, but there's a par 3 on the back 9 that had like water creeping in. And I just happened to put it right there. But if I went to go back, I don't think I would the second time.
Is it 11?
No, it's towards the end of the round.
Well, the only par 3 that's after that is the one that's on that huge mound.
Then maybe it's a short par 4. Maybe it's a short par 4 that like the water cuts in from the right side.
Oh, yeah. You're thinking of 17.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I really wanted to hold back because I was like, oh, I'm going to play this perfectly. And then I put it right just an inch too far into those reeds on the water right there.
Yeah. You either try and cut the corner and navigate it with that tree and try and play one at the green, or you have to hit like a safe, like 200-yard shot in the center because the corner cuts really hard. And if you hit it too far, it goes into like reeds and actual like lake.
Yeah, that's the one. So those 3 holes I really have thought about since. So I'm going to pass on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I partially feel bad that we failed like so many of the first couple questions. So I'd give this one a pass. There's that one hole on the back 9 with the super sloped green. I don't know if you guys remember that. I think it's 15 or 16. But essentially, you have to shoot over like the creek or sewer or whatever that is, and then you have the green that's super sloped down towards you.
Yeah, it's 15.
Okay, yeah, that hole is fun, especially depending on which part of the green you land on. And then 18's, I mean, I hate 18, but it's a classic hole with the crazy tiered green and just the accuracy required.
Okay, yeah, I would say I'm a pass here as well. It's funny. I noticed it when I played a few weeks back that there's a lot of sloped greens that just go sloped back to front out there. There's like 2 par 4s and a par 5 in a row where like all of them, I think it's like 5. It's either 6. It's like 6 through 8, I think, are all just par 4s, par 5s where they're all sloped back to front. Where if you stick it in the back, there's a chance it always rolls all the way down to the front. It's funny because I don't think this course necessarily has like a signature hole outside of maybe 18. And 18 being like, okay, yes, it's the hole that everybody sees It has that cool 3-tiered green that's narrow. It's a fun par 5 that, like, if you really were out there and you were trying to shoot a score and you knew that you needed to get an eagle on 18, it is entirely possible to cut the corner on the right side, hit a decently long iron up the hill, up onto the green, and make a putt. But most time, if I walk out of there with a par on 18, I'm very happy playing all the way up the hill, right? That's usually, I almost always play that hole as like, okay, let's try and not triple bogey this hole because it can get out of hand pretty quickly. But yeah, none are signatures, but there's a ton out there that I would love to replay
that are fun,
over and over again, that are like fun holes. I think they have a good variety of par 3s. There's the one over the water on the front 9. I think it's 4. There's the downhill one that's 2. There's the one that there's 11 that's over water. There's probably my least favorite hole on the entire course, which I think it's like 12 or 13. That is like it's the full turtleback with the biggest bunker on the entire property. That's probably like 8 feet tall. That, like, I hit sideways out of the last time I played because I was like, there's no way I get this out and it holds on the top of the green.
Yeah.
So there's a lot here that if given the opportunity, I also think when I think about this test, like, if you put me on this hole all day, could I just play this hole over and over again? Or do they have holes that, like, if I played a 3-hole loop, maybe that's a better scenario. If I played a 3-hole loop all the time, would I be happy with this 3-hole loop? Or would I be like, get me the F off this golf course?
I think about that with like a bucket of balls. Like, if I would drop on a hole, is there different ways I could play it? Is there certain spots where if I could reach or land it there, it's going to be a lot of fun, and like it's a risk reward type thing that makes a hole fun for me sometimes.
It does get a little creative out there, like Surreal talked about with like 15, where it's like, okay, I can poke one out there with a sensible iron because this fairway's a little narrow. But then I have a decently long iron into the green again on this sloped style green that if I don't hit, it's probably going to roll all the way off the front. Yeah. If I take driver and I potentially run it too long, there's that little ravine that runs in front of it. There's a lot of holes like that are you're like I said, it's not super open, so you also don't feel like you have to go out there and just bomb and gouge it. So it does make you be like, oh, I can take a 3-wood off this tee, or oh, I can take a hybrid or a longer iron off these tees and still have reasonable shots at playing these holes.
Yeah.
So
we're passing this one. So it's 2 for 5. Question 6, the Glizzy test. Does this course have good food at the turn? Are you eating here or packing your own snacks? Let's just say that this one does have a separate snack shack outside of the main building, right? That sometimes is what we ding places for. So just calling that out.
That's a good start there. I have terrible news to report. They have taken their chicken Caesar off the menu.
No, that was like what we got.
And it's a good chicken Caesar. I think the only ding on that, well, I won't even the ding on the chicken Caesar. It depends on the person. Are you guys dressing in the chicken Caesar, or do you want it on the side?
Both.
you want it mixed in, and you want extra on the side?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Big sauce guy.
I mean, that's my answer now, TJ.
You heard it here, folks. You heard it here first, folks. Kevin Sarreal of Surreal Golf is a big sauce guy. The sauce affiliate deals are going to start streaming in for you now.
Wait, Kev. Top 3 sauces from fast food restaurants. You can only have 3 sauces in your pantheon.
Top 3. Well, are we going like specific brands or just like general?
No, like from a place. Like tell me.
I want like Chick-fil-A ketchup, or
okay. I'm gonna go with the Dave's hot chicken spread sauce, whatever that is.
Oh wow. Okay.
Buffalo Wild Wings ranch is really good, and then
Vito's ranch.
Something.
So far, I would not have guessed either of those two.
And then big sweet and sour sauce guy from McDonald's.
Okay.
Top 3.
That like bright red sweet and sour sauce.
Yes, it's like orange.
Orange.
Yeah, the label is green.
Yeah.
Sweet and sour lives in my top 3 just out of pure nostalgia. Like that's what I like grew up on. I think Jack in the Box Buttermilk Ranch is incredible.
Wow. Okay.
Even if I don't know if they still have like their taco sauce or their hot sauce, but we used to mix the taco sauce and the hot sauce with the buttermilk ranch.
Okay.
And then
Who's we?
me and my fat D-gen friends in college.
Shout out, Alex.
No, Alex and I didn't go to college.
Okay.
And then how can you not pick fire sauce from Taco Bell? Like how can you disrespect Taco Bell fire sauce?
Put some respect on the name. Okay.
Massey?
Yeah, so Taco Bell Diablo sauce is my favorite.
Even higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A sauce? No one picked Chick-fil-A sauce?
Not a big Chick-fil-A guy.
Oh my god, you guys are missing
It's too
out
cheesy.
on that. No. I mean, Chick-fil-A sauce, Taco Bell's Diablo. Number 3 for me is probably, I don't know if this counts, but the sauce you get at Board and Brew, the dip sauce for the sandwich. God, that sauce slaps.
Oh, I love it. Ashley doesn't like it, so I always get her extra. So I just have a ton. Like my hands are orange by the time that I'm done with my sandwich because it's just ran off all down the side.
I love that sauce.
Yeah.
All right.
So
thanks for the detour on that one. Back to the glizzy test. So no chicken Caesar, but what about the other options there?
I think they replaced it with like a Southwest wrap or something like that. So a good alternative, a good brat here as well. I will second that they have a good brat at the turn. I think it goes a little bit above your standard turn fare. There's more than just your hot dog, turkey club, and whatnot on there. There's some other options, and I do think they rotate the menu pretty frequently. And it also just gets bonus points for being right there between. It's between 1 and 10. It's right where you come off at 9. So it's very easy to stop at and then jump right back in on 10. Or it's not, you don't ever run. And I don't know if we've ever actually talked about this on the podcast, but I think we've talked about it when you have to go to other ones. But like, if you wanted to stop and take like a little bit of a break, or you know that you guys are going to order drinks and the group behind you has just been on your tails and you feel bad about it, it's very easy to wave the group behind you through to 10 while you're ordering food and drinks at this turn.
Yeah. Because it's right next to the first hole as well, right?
Yes. Yes.
So you can tell the marshal or the starter or whoever, be like, hey, we're letting these guys through if anyone asks. Like, you can be upfront. Because the starter usually hangs right there. Also a good location for it for being one as well, that you don't have to worry about somebody pre-round. You don't have to worry about somebody running from like a bar to get whatever drink that they got and run it out to the first tee. They can just order it right there as well. Okay, so are we passing this one?
Yeah, I'd pass it.
Yeah, I am too. Okay, so it's doing good now. 3 for 6. Question 7, the Marshall test. Does this course have a decent pace of play? Can you rely on a relatively quick round here if you have somewhere to be after? TJ?
If you're watching at home, I'm chomping at the bit to answer this question. For how open the tee sheet is at this course sometimes, this course plays so slow. I hardly ever see a marshal out at this course. And every time I have seen a marshal at this course, they are just there to exist, hand out a bottle of water, and maybe tell you a story. It feels like they're the marshal where they say like, we just talked to the group who it is. They're going to pick it up. And then they never pick it up. They're just there for show. They're just there for the facade that they're keeping it moving and they don't want you to get mad. They're doing their best for you. But I don't think I've ever played a sub 4.5 hour round here. Most of my team.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Surreal. No, Surreal, go ahead.
I would pass it, but I would like to just throw out there that 80% of the time I play here, it's probably before 7:30 a.m. Because it's so close to where I live. I don't mind waking up early to get out there. Yeah. So I've been able to get through it in like the 4.5 hours, but
Mhm.
I could see it being a slower course throughout the day just because it's so tight and people spend that extra time looking or trying to find balls that they hit a OB. What
I
time
don't
did you
want
play the last time you
I don't
played?
want any group think on this podcast, Kevin.
Oh,
You stick to your opinion here. If you're
okay.
passing,
All right. For me, then it's a pass.
hell
Okay.
yeah.
I would say I played at, I think our tee time was at like 10:10 on a Sunday. So, and yeah, and I when I showed up that morning, I think I got back there around like 9 or 9:15. And there was guys walking off 18 already. So you've got to think that those guys played in 3.5 or less, right? You're probably thinking maybe there's probably not a tee time before 5:45, 5:30. So it's possible. Like, I mean, it's definitely not an impossible course to play in 4 hours. But I play mostly on the weekends, and I've never even. I think Shawn, you were with me when we talked to that one Marshall who was just not doing.
No, he wasn't doing anything.
He wasn't doing anything. So
What was his name? I'm just kidding.
So you're a fail, TJ. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a definite fail for.
Okay. Since I don't play as much as you guys, the reviews do mention like there's two things that an AI summary says about RBI, and one of them is players note the slower lack of or pace of play at this course, which is interesting.
Wow.
And then I checked, and it's pulling from a variety of sources. Most courses have that kind of language, but I mean, this one did. I will say this is kind of just a little anecdote. TJ, if you, please will excuse me to tell this real quick. The last time I played here,
I'm an open book, baby.
Okay, the last time I played here, TJ had a tough round. Let's just say, like
No way.
losing balls, like in the outside the boundary of the course, like in those little washes and whatnot. And so I feel like at sometimes we were the group that was playing a little slower, and on one of the holes, TJ and I were getting into each other. Like when one of us is having a bad round or TJ's having a bad round, like we've talked about on the pod before, like our patience is a little thin, and the group behind us hit into us, and it was one of the rare times where I lost my shit. TJ got at me for being pissed at the guys that hit into us. I think on like 11.
It was 12. It was the par 5 after
Okay.
11. That's the par 3. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember after that, I literally said to TJ, "Just take me home. Just turn around, take me home." We were in a cart, and I didn't want to be there. I was ready to like get off the course because the vibe was just so bad after.
You should have cracked some skulls. You could have ended up on Zyre Golf.
Yeah, exactly. Rip my shirt off. But then the rest of the course, I remember because we were in this mood, I just wanted the course to be done faster. And we kept running up against this group in front of us. So I'd have to sit on the tee with TJ stewing at me in absolute silence. Just like it felt like it dragged on forever because of that. So maybe that was just my perception, but the times I played there, it felt really slow. Like it was very brutally slow. So I'm a fail as well.
Yeah, I will say there were no lies told in that entire story. But I also think that it to no fault of its own, I think most resort courses people expect slower times. Because you're getting people who are staying at the resort who just want to play golf because it's there, and they're unfamiliar with the course. They're looking, they're playing with clubs that aren't familiar to them or any of that type of stuff, or they just don't care. They're on vacation and they're just trying to relax. And if that's spending 5 hours on a golf course, they don't care. Where else would they rather be? They're on vacation. So, but when you're a resident, you're like, well, what the hell?
Yeah. All right. So 2 of us fail that. So that's a fail. Question. Oh, yeah. So it's 3 for 7 here. Question 8, the high handicapper test. Would a mid to high handicapper enjoy this course in typical conditions, or is it fair to all handicaps? And are the greens or pin positions fair?
I don't think this is a beginner-friendly course. That first hole is deceiving because it's so wide open, but once you get out there, it's tight, and you're against either the houses along this course or there's trees or that ravine type thing that just runs through the middle of the course. So a lot of times if you're missing the fairway, you're losing a ball, which makes it tough for the high handicapper.
Yeah.
So probably fail.
Yeah, I think I could go either way on this because it feels like there's some holes where it's really tight, like really really tight. Like 3 immediately comes to mind where it's like, if the cart path runs down it's the par 5. The cart path runs down the right side, and if you hit it anywhere on that right side of the cart path, it rolls right down into that ravine, and it's all that really thick shrubbery. So it's really tough. But then like there's a bunch of holes on the front 9 at least that run right next to other holes that don't necessarily have that ravine. So it's tough. Like it's definitely like Surreal said, it's not beginner friendly for sure.
Yeah.
But this is a high handicapper test. So it's not like, because that's the thing is that like it does feel somewhat gettable. None of the greens are super tricky. There's not a ton of like really punishing positions. It's not like I harken back to playing Greyhawk, where Shawn, you talked about on the pod, you and I are looking at 2 different golf courses almost the entire time that we're playing.
Yeah.
Rancho Bernardo Inn is not like that, right? It is not, there's not going to be weird stuff that feels like it's in your way. Like the same bunker is in play for you as it is in play for me, whether I'm in the rough on the right side or you're in the fairway on the left side. Like we're both thinking about the approach shot the same on where we want to land it going into a green.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I mean, in the same portfolio of company or courses, it's not easy ranch. It's not incidence ranch, right? By any means. But it's also not what I would say is harder crossings at Carlsbad.
No forced carries. Like, there's 2 par 3s over water. That's it.
Right, which is also JC course. So in that portfolio, RBI for me is easier than crossings, harder than Encinitas Ranch. It's in that little zone in between. But I think in general, like you said, it's all out in front of you. Like I know what the ask was, and I feel like I could take someone else there and they would be like, yeah, that was a good day of golf, versus like crossings where I'm like, good luck carrying this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I have the word gettable in parentheses here, like on my notes. And if I think that it's probably gettable, then I'm probably not worried about going and playing there and losing a dozen balls like I am if I go to the crossings. So
you want to go half point? Or are you going full point?
It's honestly one of those ones that I think if it's your first time playing it and you don't know that like those ravines are there or that ball is dead if you hit it over there, then it sucks and you hate it. But if you played smart golf, which I know a lot of times high handicappers just flat out don't do, but if you were just played smart, sensible golf on like, okay, I don't hit driver on this hole and I'll hit 3 shots to get into this green on this par 4 and it'll be fine, right? And then I could, even if I 3-putt, that's still only a double versus like pumping a ball OB and then dropping one and then flubbing a shot out of the rough, like, and it quickly turns into a 7 or an 8. I'll give it a half point. I think it's probably a full pass, but I've also said enough to where I said it's got some difficult spots in it as well. Or you need to play it twice.
Yeah. Kev, you were a fail?
Yeah, and just to add on to something that TJ mentioned about it being gettable, I think that's one of the most frustrating about RBI is it does, like, on paper it looks very gettable, and I don't think I've ever shot well there.
Yeah. All right, well, then it can't pass this test, so it doesn't matter what I say.
Would you?
Because it only has a half point, so it would only get 1.5 if I passed it.
Is that not how we've worked it out?
2 out of 3 is the rules on the must play. But okay. Just for posterity's sake, I don't think it passes. Even though I made the case just now for that, like I still think about courses in the area, and I'm like, I don't know if I would want to take someone to RBI first. Like, there's other courses I could think of that would probably be easier. So
I can tell you, my dad did not have a great day. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dad. Body bagged, but
yeah. So it's fail. So it's 3 out of 8, which is tough because it can't pass now or get into debate territory. But let's see if it can get up to 5. So question 9, the vibes test. Is this course worth staying at post round? Do they have a good restaurant or patio scene? let me start by saying the patio here is sick. Like,
Yeah.
I saw people having brunch when we teed off, and I almost wanted to go do brunch more than golf. Like it was such a cool vibe in the hangout in the restaurant. And
Yes.
then having gone back for your wedding, that bar is so cool that like now knowing that's there, I would probably recommend we always go get a drink at that bar after a round at RBI.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a pass.
Yeah. The veranda, the patio is great. It's a great brunch spot regardless of whether you're playing golf or not. Like you said, the bar inside is also very good. I think the only slight ding I have for it that's not it's still going to be a pass for me, but I think the only slight ding for it is that it doesn't really have a great view of the golf course. But if you really want to, the turn stand does have picnic tables. Like you could go sit and have beers at the turn stand. There's more than enough places to sit and watch people tee off on one. But there's really, if you're sitting out on the patio and having brunch or even enjoying whatever out there, you really only see some guys hit in on 18, and it's not like it's the best viewing platform. There's still a pretty large shrub that looks down over. You don't really get to see much, so that's its only ding. But other than that, it's a pass.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you guys passed it, but I've never grabbed a meal or drink at the top restaurant after a round, but that snack shop, I'm pretty sure it has TVs. So, I mean, if the group I was playing with wanted to grab drinks after and hang out there, and it's a Sunday, they throw on some football, I'd gladly hang out there for a little bit.
It does have TVs. You are correct. That's also a really good note, that if you go sit at the turn stand, you can just have beers there, still see the TV, and then still turn around and watch some golf if you want to.
Yep.
All right. So 4 for 9. Last question here, the dime a dozen test. Is this course unique to the area, or could you get this golf experience somewhere else on your trip or visit? I'll go first on this one. Just because of the history, but also the resort, I think this is unique because it feels like that 50s, 60s era where it's kind of classier than it maybe looks on paper.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get there and I feel transported. I know that sounds so cliche, but it really does it takes me out of whatever I was doing that day. And I feel like I'm at the resort. I'm here.
It's really funny that you say that, because that's part of the reason why we chose it as a venue for our wedding. I am a big fan. I love getting people together. It was part of the reason why I even was okay getting married and probably not even wanting to just elope. Was that I love getting family and friends together and having a reason to celebrate. And the big thing was that I wanted to have it at like a hotel or a resort where people who come from out of town can stay. And that is like the central hub for everything. You don't feel like you have to go anywhere else. You don't feel like you have to do anything outside of the resort. Like everything is just kind of there. And it's cool that when people came, that's how a lot of people felt when they were there. It was like, oh, we can just stay here. We can eat all of our meals here. All the stuff for the weddings here. It was very straightforward like that.
Yeah. So if I was having people come into town and I lived in San Diego and I was taking them somewhere, I'd be like, hey, you know what? Like, this is a good day. This is somewhere where maybe you can't get this where you live. Like, this is going to feel like a bit of a vacation or a resort or something like that on top of that course. And there's courses out here that are part of resorts, but if they're not like way out in the middle of the desert, which some are, the rest of them feel connected to the rest of town. This one just is like tucked. It's like tucked away out there. So I like it. I'm a pass on question 10. Kevin?
Surreal?
Are we going based off of the top price for the course?
You can interpret that for this question. Yeah.
Okay.
We just say, is the course unique to the area? Or could you get the experience somewhere else?
To the area. I think if somebody was visiting San Diego, RBI is not the first choice of golf courses that I would bring them to. Especially if they're willing to pay the price for RBI, I would much rather take them to like Madeiras, which is right up the street, kind of. Aviara kind of has that same feeling of you being transported to another place, and
what's the price at AVR or Aviara?
Yeah,
I think it's around 2 something which is not that much more than 185.
Okay.
I mean, if you're paying that much, then
do we consider things that are 30 minutes away still in the same area? That's like, because that was my entire thought behind a lot of this question, was like, if we're talking about the area, I think the only other like championship style golf course that's even close to this that is public, tons of private golf around this area. But from a public standpoint, Madeiras is like the only one that's like kind of around here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Oaks North is right next to it.
Well, Oaks is an executive. That's why I said championship. Or does championship not signify?
I think 30-minute is fine, because you're gonna. What's 30 minutes if people are visiting and you want to take them somewhere? You're gonna go 30 minutes somewhere,
Right?
Yeah.
If 30 minutes, okay. So if just to like name a few courses I would bring people to over RBI, I would much rather take somebody to Steel, Madeiras, Aviara. I think there's better options for that price range that are in a little bit better condition too. And that's me being nice.
I like that on the last like 4 questions here, you've gone against the rest, which I appreciate, because after I told you don't do groupthink, you like went against the vote on each of them, which is awesome. Which I appreciate, because like I know your golf out there too.
Yeah. No, I agree with Surreal's point here in terms of if there's other golf courses that I think are probably the better choice to go play golf at. But I think with this question, I think I start to lean towards the full like experience and the being able to go play, thinking about being able, like the replayability of this course, and wanting to talk about, I would have loved to have if I could have cut that corner on 17, my score would have been wildly different, or stuff like that. And talking about stuff like that over beers at the bar, or heck, man, if you're staying at this resort, like you could play this golf course on back-to-back days, no problem. Probably be pretty happy about it. Especially if you're on vacation, where that longer round starts to not bother you as much.
I need a final vote from everyone here then.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass it. I think because of the resort vibe that it gets associated with around it, I think it has some glaring flaws that could, I think, be cleaned up pretty well, and could fix some things that could start to encroach it into a must-play territory. That would also help make it a little bit more unique in this scenario, where I think Surreal started to talk upon it earlier when we were talking about when was the last time an actual tournament was there, and how good would this course potentially play if it was in championship conditions. Right. So if they, if all of a sudden it became a point of pride for the resort on their championship golf course, and they wanted to even bump the price up $50, but it was in really good condition, I think we would all strongly consider playing there more frequently. So I think that makes it unique enough for me to pass.
Okay. I'm going to pass as well. And then I think, Kevin, you're a fail. So we are 5 for 10. Did not make the must play list, but as we always say, everyone please go play and make your own determination on whether or not you think this is.
It's a should play.
A should play. Yeah, we call it sometimes. But Surreal, I feel like we've had you on twice now, and this time more than the last one, we got to hear a lot from you. But I want to leave the floor open to you here at the end. Like, what are some things coming up for you that you're excited about, or what are some like partnerships or tournaments? It doesn't matter what. I would just love to hear you kind of go off more here at the end.
No tournaments for the time being. I think I'm just gonna have to get in the lab and prepare for next year's city tournaments. Hopefully, I mean, by next year it's a long shot, but maybe I'll get down to that 4 handicap and I can play some of the San Diego tournaments. Yeah. Probably not, but I think what I'm gonna be most focused on is just trying to keep lowering that handicap. One of the reasons I started my page is to, track my progress and show people that like you don't have to have grown up playing golf to be good at golf. Like anyone, if you're willing to put in the time and the hard work, you can get good at this game. So I think maybe trying to show that more in my content is going to be something I focus on too.
Nice.
As far as brand deals, partnerships, nothing crazy in the works yet, but if I do make any big deals, you guys will be the first to know.
This is our official petition to let Kevin Sarreal be Jason Day's stunt double / body double / whatever you need him to do with Jason Day. He's there for it. This is us putting our fair wagers stamp on it. We approve that message.
Appreciate that.
He does his own stunts too. Cool. Well, I'm excited to get out there and play another round with you. It's been too long since Rams, so I think I told TJ I might have a trip coming up, and I'll definitely hit you up. I want to see this single digit in action.
Do it.
Sounds good. I'm going to start practicing now.
Okay. Well, everyone who stuck around, thank you so much for listening. Like we said, it's a 5 out of 10, but please make your own score if you get to play. Let us know in the comments what you think. And rate us 5 stars if you listened to the podcast anywhere you did. You can watch this on YouTube as well for the video version. And TJ and I have been grateful for all the support so far that we've gotten on the podcast. And we got to do a Ryder Cup episode recently, and that's coming up right after this. So I'm very excited for rooting for the U.S. and seeing how things go.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And for everyone else who stuck around, thank you so much. And we'll see you next time.
Later, guys.